Welcome to today's segment of Hub City Presents. Today we're going to talk about a big need in the community. And we're here with Don Cherrick from Big Brothers Big Sisters and Al Nystrom. He's a big brother. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don, could you tell us what your position is with Big Brothers Big Sisters and maybe a little bit about the demographic that the organization serves?
Sure. I'm the executive director. I've been with the agency for 21 years, and we're excited to be serving the community of Marshfield and surrounding areas. So to give a little bit of history, our organization is Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Wisconsin, and our primary office is in Stevens Point. However, about a year and a half ago, we were excited to kind of partner with the board of directors here in the Wood County agency and decided that a consolidation was the best interest for both agencies. So in January of 2018, our coverage area went to include the Marshfield area as well as Portage County. So we've been in the area for about a year and a half, really excited to watch the program grow here in the Marshfield area as well as Portage County.
Okay, and how many kids are you serving right now through the program?
The entire program, last year we served about 310 kids. In the Marshfield area, we served about 40 children last year with a Big Brother or Big Sister.
Okay, and how's the program set up? Is it just individuals that are mentoring the kids? Or are there other arrangements people can make to work with the kids?
Sure. There's actually a couple different options. So we do have where it can be a big brother or a big sister, and that's just a volunteer they go through the enrollment process, they're spending time with a child doing activities that they like doing together. Maybe it might be baking a cake, going fishing, throwing a ball around the park, just spending time together. But sometimes we have some kids who could really benefit from having a couple match, maybe someone who is in a positive relationship. So we do have an option where it's a couple or a shared match or even a family match. And that's where a husband and wife might be matched with a little brother or little sister together. It's a great fit because it allows those kids to get that extra role model, helps them to see just that positive interaction between a loving couple, gives the husband and wife, or that sometimes we have roommates who will do it, gives them a little bit of a zone where if they have a hard time always getting together, if one of them can't get together with the child, maybe the next week one can. They can kind of alternate, but they also have the support of each other. We've seen an increase in the number of couple matches. It just seems like a really good fit for husband and wives who want to get involved. They're really not quite sure if they can make that commitment, or just kind of want to get their feet a little wet and then get more involved with the program with a little brother or little sister.
So how many kids are on the waiting list to be matched with a big?
Sure. Right here in the Marshfield area, we have over 25 kids who are waiting to be matched. Most of those are little brothers. And some of those kids, Chris, have been waiting for over a year, some even up to 2 years who are waiting. And the kids, they just simply want someone to spend time with, someone who can throw a football around, go fishing. It's really about being a positive role model, being a friend to them. When people ask us, what is Big Brothers Big Sisters? It's truly about friendship, just offering a positive role model. Oftentimes the kids that we work with, they just want to have someone who cares about them unconditionally, someone who will hang out with them once a week. You know, we just recently had a match who the big sister took her little to the grocery store, and she allowed her little sister to pick out whatever they were going to make for dinner. She said it was pretty creative and the meal was kind of interesting, but her little sister had never had that opportunity to go and just decide what she wanted to do. And that was such a huge self-esteem booster for that child, and just a great little magic moment in that match.
So what are the ages of the kids that are on the waiting list right now? What are you seeing the most of?
Sure. Well, our kids, the age range is anywhere between age 6 up through 16. Right now, the majority of the kids are in that about 8 to 12-year-old range. Again, mostly little brothers who are waiting right now.
Okay. And what is the time expectation each week?
Sure. We ask that our volunteers be able to commit to at least a few times a month for a couple of hours. So there's not necessarily a set time, 4 hours a month. We just ask to get together a few times a month. It might be an hour one week, it might be a few hours, kind of depends on the activity and what the interests of the child and the big are. It's really just about incorporating them into activities that you're already doing. So that time really can vary. We're flexible. We do have some families and kids who maybe can only commit to being matched for once or twice a month. Some volunteers who can't meet every single week. Ideally, we'd like to see them meet a few times a month.
And what is the enrollment process or the application process like for the bigs?
Sure. Well, we are a volunteer organization. Obviously, we need to focus on child safety. But if people are interested, they would just call us or email or go to our website, and then we would email them or send them an application. The application includes just some basic information that we gather from them, ask for some references. We then sit down and do a personal interview with them. So we have them come into our office, just get to know them a little bit better, find out what their hobbies or interests are, what type of child that they would most comfortable being matched with, find out if they want specific preferences for the little, and just get a good family history, get a good history of what they're all about, and then we can take that information and make sure that we match them with the most appropriate child. So when we sit down with that volunteer, we're gonna find out who they're most comfortable being matched with, and not just put them with the first child available on the waiting list. We're going to look at their interests and their personality and their preferences and do the best job we can to match them with a child. We also do a home visit for volunteers who are going into our community-based program. Our community-based program is where the volunteer gets matched up with the child and they go out in the community and do things together. Because there is the opportunity where the child may be spending time at the volunteer's home, we just do a quick home visit just to make sure there's no safety concerns in the home. We ask for a couple references and then do background checks. And then once that's all completed, we can let the volunteer know if they've successfully completed the enrollment process.
Okay, and then once you have a match, then you bring the two together to meet?
Yeah. So our our agency has professional match specialists. So the match specialist role is to get to know each of the bigs that are coming through, get to know the littles and their families, and really identify that best match. And then when we find the best match, we do the initial match meeting, usually at the child's home or maybe your office, and facilitate an introduction. So the child gets to learn all about the big gets to learn all about the child. The match specialist will really sit down with the parents and all parties and talk about schedules, expectations, just making sure everyone's comfortable with the match. And usually then we encourage them to spend a little bit of time together, maybe an hour or so, get to know each other a little bit. After that match is made, one of the most crucial things for our program is that match support afterwards. So our goal is to really provide and support successful, safe matches. We want to make sure that those kids have someone in their life that is making a difference for them. So our staff are there to have regular contact with the bigs, the littles, the parents, following up with them at least once a month, just asking those general safety questions and making sure everyone is comfortable in the match. And sometimes we just need to provide some additional resources to matches.
Okay. So Elle, you've been a Big Brother for quite some time now, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And do you remember the first time you met your little brother?
I did, yeah. We had a meeting, I think, in the bank building where I work, and met Mom and met my little, and talked about the things he enjoys doing, the things I enjoy doing, and so it's all lots of common ground. And I kind of expected him to be kind of shy and quiet, introverted, and so it took but it was pretty clear that we had a lot of common ground, and we had mutual interests in sports and the outdoors and things like that. So I think we left right away knowing this could be really good. And like Dawn said, he was just looking for somebody to hang out with. I mean, he didn't have an older brother in the family or a dad that was present, and he was just looking for a guy to play catch with, get exposure to the outdoors, and do the things that moms and sisters can't do in terms of guy stuff. So it was a perfect fit right away, and it's just been a wonderful 5 years together since then.
5 years, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what type of things do you do together? What type of activities?
Yeah, we and sometimes it's big stuff and sometimes it's little. Mostly, and like Dawn said, a lot of times we just incorporate him into the things we're doing already. Knowing he has an interest in sports, if I'm going to a high school basketball game, I'll invite him along. If I'm going to watch a Packer game on a Sunday afternoon, he's part of that. This time of year, it's time to be outdoors. So last night we went golfing and went to the Chaparrals baseball game afterwards. He loves to fish and has no access to fishing without us, so I take him to our lake and he'll do a day of fishing with us. So it's just all sorts of things. In the wintertime, we kind of hunker down like everybody else and start playing cribbage and shooting pool or just watching TV together. But it doesn't have to be some big thing every week, and I think a lot of bigs get scared away by the idea of what would I do if I got matched. but it's as simple as incorporating him into what we're doing already, and sharing a meal with him, or going out for a lunch, all the things we would do anyway. We just have that extra person. And for us, it's been an entire family commitment. He's as comfortable with my wife and my kids, my dad, as he is with me, and we've embraced him as a family. So it's just been I think has exceeded all of my expectations, and I know it's exceeded his too. He was looking for a playmate, but I think what he found was a real lifetime friendship, and that'll be continued for many years.
So, Al, what does this do for you? What does this bring to your life?
Yeah, it's really rewarding, Chris. I can't think of anything I've done as a volunteer that's more rewarding than being part of his life. After a good day with my little, I'll get a text from his mom, and she'll tell me, "Hey, just so you know, here's what he's saying about you when you're not around. I want to be like Al. I want to do the things that he's doing when I grow up," and things like that. And so it makes you feel like you've made an impact. I've seen him in 5 years go from this quiet, introverted, kind of just not very self-assured, to being a very, having a really good self-esteem and some independence and some resiliency that I didn't see 5 years ago. And his mom will tell us this too. So, as a mentor, you just can't ask for a better feeling than to know that you made a difference in some young man's life. And I've been very blessed to have had very positive people around me and positive role models in all of my life. And knowing that not everyone has that, it's just a great opportunity to give a little back and help fill a need in an individual's life. And it's so personal, and that's what makes it different than some other projects we've been involved with as a family. This is one-on-one, and it's you can really see the impact when it goes well.
So if you were speaking to somebody who was considering being a big brother or big sister, what would you say to them?
Yeah, first of all, I talk to them about how easy it is, because the first objection is I don't have time, right? And we're all busy people, and I'm a busy person, and so is my wife and my kids, but I want them to understand that it's as easy as incorporating them into your normal activities. So it's not really taking away from anything you're doing, you're just adding that extra special person to that. And so don't let the time commitment scare you of that. Don't worry about this being a 10-year contract. It's not. We certainly would hope that it would be a long-term deal, but it's okay if it doesn't work out a year later or 2 years. Anything is better than these kids sitting on a waiting list for 2 years, waiting for someone to find that the perfect someone. So I think we have to just encourage them to open their minds to it, consider that an hour a week is nothing that anybody couldn't do, and understand what a rewarding experience it is, because I can't think of anything else where you can have that kind of an impact on an individual in this town. And they're really in those crucial years where they're growing up and they're facing all the stuff that comes with middle school and elementary school and the peer pressure and all the things that pile up on a young man or young girl. To be there, be by their side, take the edge off of some of that, and to show them how much better things can be. It's just rewarding. There's no better way to describe it. And I would encourage anyone to jump in there if you've been thinking about it, because it's the only question you'll ask is why didn't I do this sooner? Because I've asked that of myself. I could have done this years ago, but I'm glad I did.
Done. So how many kids are out there looking for matches yet?
Right. In the Marshfield area, we have over 25 kids who are waiting, and close to 20 of those kids are boys.
Okay. And men are matched with boys and women are matched with girls,
right.
Correct?
We do offer a cross-gender match if it's appropriate and if the family's open to it, where we will match a big sister with a little brother if the circumstances are okay. But little brothers, they usually are looking for that male role model. They're looking for someone like Al, so typically we match the male to male.
Okay. And can you just kind of go over the importance as a community? The importance of volunteering with the program.
Sure. We firmly believe that every child has so much potential. I mean, they have the potential to change the world, and we just want to help support that. And oftentimes, those kids just need that extra role model, someone who can really help them reach their full potential. We know in our outcomes and our success stories, we see that these kids who are littles, oftentimes we see them still in the community 5-10 years later as adults, successful adults really bringing positive things back to the community. One of the most rewarding things being involved with the agency for so long is I've been able to see past littles come back into the program as bigs and want to pay it forward. And that is just really neat to see, that they can give back to the community and flourish and just do really great things and make positive choices. the kids that we serve, our statistics, of course we have to have outcomes. They're showing that those kids are improving in their grades, their self-esteem, better relationships with adults, stronger community members. There's just a lot of really positive outcomes that a child can have from having one extra adult role model in their life. It really makes a big difference. And like Al said, if some of these kids have come to us years later and share their stories about how their big was the one person who was there for them consistently, the one person who cared for them. And that is so crucial for all of our youth.
Is there anything that I didn't cover that?
I would just say there's such a need for more volunteers. As Al said, it really is about just being a friend, being a role model. It's about incorporating them into your regular life. If you have a family, we have opportunities where a family can be matched. We just really hope that we can get those 25 kids who've been waiting and some who've been waiting for almost 2 years. We want to get that down to 0. We want to be able to serve those kids and make sure that they can get matched with a big brother, big sister, and keep defending their potential that we know that they have.
Yeah, I really see this as an urgent need in our community, Chris. Our community has been very supportive of us financially. We've got the dollars to have the right staff to do this program very well. And in the end, it's going to come down to if Marshfield wants us, then Marshfield's going to have volunteers step up and do the things that we need to do as mentors. And I just look around my own little circle of friends and family, and I see lots of folks that can do it very well and quite simply. And that's just a small subsection of Marshfield, but there are hundreds of people in this town that can be bigs and have a great experience, and it'll only add to their lives. So if anyone is out there thinking about this is something I've been thinking about doing, we have to answer that call today. We can't afford to wait a year from now. These kids can't wait for 6 months from now. We've got to fill this need quickly, and so anything people can do to help spread that word and to volunteer to make that call, I think it'll be one of the best experiences you can have as a volunteer. I really believe that.
And who do they contact if they're interested?
Sure, they can go to our website, which is bigimpact.org, and then they can contact us through that website.
Okay. Well, thank you both for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having us,
Thank
Chris.
you, Chris.
When we come back, Elizabeth Bolin will be speaking with little sister Juliet Iwashenko and her dad John.
Welcome back. I am Elizabeth Bolin, and I'm here with little sister Juliet and her father John. Juliet, how long have you been a part of the Big Brother Big Sister program?
3 years, coming up on 4 in November.
So how old were you when you first got matched?
In 3rd grade, when I was 9.
Okay. And do you remember your first meeting with your big sister?
When I met her when we were going to be matched, she thought I wasn't interested at all because I was looking down at a piece of paper, but I was coloring a picture for her, and then when it was time to go, I ran after her to give it to her.
And what have you as a father witnessed happen to Juliet over the course of her being matched with this big sister?
One thing I saw in Juliet is she matured a lot more, and she came out of her shell. She wasn't so quiet and shy. She always looked forward to seeing Chris a lot. It was always a good experience, and she enjoyed her time that she got with somebody that was just going to give her some alone time and just solid time with her.
What's your favorite thing you've ever done with your big sister?
Probably baking with her.
Baking?
We usually bake a lot.
What'd you bake?
We sometimes bake peanut butter cookies with the chocolate kiss in the middle. And once we made little princess cakes.
That is amazing. What's something you'd maybe want to do with her?
I don't really know. We probably almost covered a lot.
Have you seen anything change in yourself since getting a big sister?
Probably be a little more confident about myself.
And do you have anything you'd want to say to kids who are maybe a little bit nervous about getting paired up?
Well, it's actually not that bad. Usually it's a little hard the first couple times, but when we did our first time, we went to a movie, and it was just kind of fun. It's like, don't be too nervous, because if you're too nervous, you're not really going to talk and connect.
And then do you have any advice that you want to give people who are maybe considering being volunteers or putting their children in the program?
I think it's a good program, and it's not necessarily that you have to have, you know, a lot of people might think you have to have a broken home or something's just not there for the kids. For Juliet's case, she has an older brother that has autism. He's high functioning, but he always got a lot of the attention, and he had therapists in the home. So a lot of times Juliet was a little left out and needed a little bit extra, and that's why we sought for her. And it was very good. And actually, her big Chris has been part of our family. I mean, there's a couple of times where we even had dinner together as a family, all of us together at once, and it was really good. There's a huge need for bigs. Well, in the previous segment where you're talking about most of them are boys on the waiting list, and some have been 2 years. My son was on the waiting list for 6 years and never got matched up. He turned 15 now, and he kind of decided, well, if somebody else could have a big first, he'd rather see a younger kid get a big than himself. So I think if you're willing to do it and try, it's well worth the effort, and it helps other people out and other families out as a whole.
How has this impacted your family?
How do you think?
I don't know.
I think it's been very positive. My wife and I will talk to Chris on a weekly basis, trying to figure out what, you know, just see what they're going to do today. And Julia will ask us what's going to happen. And I think it's just, as parents, you get another friend, kind of, you get somebody else to talk to. And sometimes our kids don't always tell us as parents what's going on sometimes or what's bothering them, but they'll tell that big. And then that big helps you out as parents to find out some things that might be bothering your kids. And there's always somebody else extra to help that's a confidant for that child. So it's been very good.
What has been your experience with the program, the technicalities of the program, like getting paired, doing all of that process? I know you said that it took a while to find a match and you've been waiting for a match on your brother, but how is your relationship with the overall program?
The overall program is good. Juliet was actually matched up when she was 6 years old. It didn't go very well. They were seeing each other once a month, so it wasn't a good match. She was in the hospital for a little bit with epilepsy, with seizures, and it was a little bit too much for her big to handle, but it was okay. At least that person stepped forward and tried. I think that person actually got matched with somebody else a little bit older, and that helped her out a little bit. And, you know, it's not always going to be a perfect match. But now, I mean, we see Chris on a regular basis every week. They do something, everything from just going shopping together, maybe going out to KFC's, which Juliet really likes. Sometimes they go get their nails done. They just do, you know, different things, and it might seem mundane or something just every day, but it still makes a big impact on her. We get communication from the organization themselves. We'll have somebody call us, do interviews with Juliet, just to make sure everything's going well, ask how things are going, if there's something that needs to be improved. They'll also talk to us parents. I think it's like once every 2 months or something like that, 2-3 months. And they'll just give you a call, talk to you, see if you're happy, everything's going well. So they're very involved. They want to make sure the program is a good match, that the big is a good match for your child, and that everything is going well. So.
And then would you, if you didn't have a child that you were putting in the program, do you think you would volunteer?
I would volunteer. I have a feeling like once my kids get older and there's a little bit more free time on our plate with everything going on, that I would definitely become a big and help somebody else out too. It's quite the program, and I think it has a big impact.
What about you, Juliet?
I might be a big.
You might?
Probably help a lot of other kids that need them. Mm-hmm. It might help emotional support.
Mm-hmm. And since you get it, then that could help. So what are your future plans?
I think we're going to get our nails done sometime with one of her friends.
That'll be fun.
And then the week after, next week, we are going to see her dad's little chickens.
Chickens? What do you think the best part about having a big sister is?
Well, probably most likely being almost a long-time friendship and having someone to visit almost every week. and basically spending time and having friendship.
And would you consider your relationship a lifelong friendship?
Probably.
And do you have any people in your life that you think could maybe benefit from a similar relationship?
A couple of my friends, when I talk about my big, most of them aren't really interested, but a couple of them seem sometimes a little lonely and like they could use a big.
All right, well, thank you guys very much. Is there anything you would like to add?
I think if there's somebody that's just on the fence about volunteering to become a big brother or big sister or a couple, they should take a try. Just try it. Doesn't always work, but if you try, at least that gives some hope for some of these kids on the waiting list.
All right, well, if you have any more questions, just look at bigimpact.org. And thank you so much, John and Juliet. And on behalf of Marshfield Media Access and Hub City Times and Big Brothers Big Sisters, we'd like to thank you for tuning in.